Hi guys, in today's tutorial we're going to look at the chapter of settlement for the junior certificate examination, and we're going to look at different settlement patterns and some functions of the different settlements that we're going to look at today. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at is the different settlement patterns you can find in a country. And the first one that we're going to look at, they have is a dispersed. The second type of settlement pattern you can find is a linear, so when they're in a line. Dispersed is when they're spread out. Linear is when they're on a line, and nucleated is the third one. And nucleated is when they're all clustered together, and you find this in towns and cities. So in Ireland we have lots of dispersed settlements, but we usually find this outside of Dublin and in the countryside. Okay, it's when houses are scattered one by one, and there's no kind of like pattern like to them. Then we have linear and nucleated settlements, and we usually find these in and around Dublin. And nucleated is because Dublin is like a magnet, and it attracts so many people into the city. So people live in close proximity to each other, and a lot of people live in housing estates in nucleated settlements. Because Dublin is grown and is quite spread out, Dublin has become like a focus of like a lot of like transport links. And in the most recent years, in different towns that these main like roads and railway lines are on, towns have started to develop and houses have been built in linear. And linear means like in a line along these roads and railway lines and these different communication lines. So one thing you got to ask yourself is, what attracts all like nucleated settlements such as Dublin? Well, there's a few different things. The first one is the physical factors, okay, so such as the altitude. The altitude is quite low in and around the Dublin region, so it's not high up off the ground, and it's a lot of flat land. It's not very mountainous until you go down to the Wicklow Mountains. But in and around Dublin and the county Dublin, the land is quite flat. The drainage around Dublin is really good drainage. It's also got a river, which would have been used for transport in the past, and would be used for as a food source and a way of for washing and so on. So this is definitely why the town and the city of Dublin would have developed here and grown here. And also the land quality. It's close to the River Liffey runs through Dublin, and because of this, in quite a lot of its floodplains, the land surrounding the River Liffey, the land quality will be very good because of all the alluvium that would have been deposited in times of flood. Also because of social reasons, such as the history. In and around Dublin there's a lot of antiquities, and this would have attracted many settlements in the past. And the overall primacy of Dublin, okay? Dublin has acted like a magnet because of its economic growth. It's where the political and economic decision making happens with the government sitting here in this county. It's got great transport links and communications, such as railway lines, such as the Luas, such as roads, such as rail, and such as airports and ports for importing and exporting of goods. And it really is the centre of all commercial business that takes place within Ireland. The next thing you need to know for your junior certificate examination is some of the functions of settlements, and in particular nucleated settlements. So in dispersed settlements you might just have one function. In linear you might have one, maybe two, possibly three functions. But in nucleated settlements you have a range of different functions. And you need to understand and be able to identify these functions of nucleated settlements. So, in Dublin, we have nucleated settlements in Dublin, and there's a range of functions that you can find in Dublin and in and around Dublin. For the first one we look at, one of the function of a town or a city could be recreational. And recreational provides basically things that people do for fun, so leisure activities. And this might be beside beaches where they have lots of basically like activities that they can do on the beaches, maybe boating, yachting, swimming, and so on and so on. They might have loads of it might be where there's like golf courses or outdoor pursuits or mountains. Basically, it's anything that people do as hobbies and for fun. The second function of a town or a city might be the function of defence. And if it is, how you can usually spot if it's the function is to be defensive, is that you'll usually find a castle in this town. And as is a castle, well then is a strong suggestion that this was built for defence. Another function of an area of a nucleated settlements you might find might be villages, and this is where you have smaller like nucleated settlements. So they're not like you'll find in Dublin, in big huge cities. So you'll find little like pockets of nucleated settlements, and these are usually villages, and these are to provide like services such as maybe a primary school, maybe even a secondary school, a petrol station, maybe a post office and a church, and so on. Okay, and you'll find these all the way around Ireland. These little small pockets of nucleated settlements, which we known as villages. Then you've got market towns, and market towns are a bigger version of villages, and they'll provide like a wider range of services. And these nucleated settlements will be much bigger than those that you'll find in the villages. And they will usually provide like banks, supermarkets, secondary schools, primary schools, sometimes maybe even like some further education centre, and so on. The fifth function that you can find in nucleated settlements is ecclesiastical function, and this is when it's something to do with spiritual, so to do with with church. And usually you can spot these in your map because you'll be able to see a church or some monastic feature, or maybe it might be some antiquity where you can identify like worship would have taken place, such as like a Megalithic tomb or a standing stone or so on. And the last one is a resource based function, and it often develops these nucleated settlements is when you have these resources that you can extract from the ground. An example of this might be like coal or silver. An example would be in Silver Mine in County Tipperary, and people will set up these nucleated settlements and live around these areas because it provides employment and jobs for them. So that's it for today's tutorial on settlements and functions of nucleated settlements. If you enjoyed the video, or if you learned something from it, can you please leave me some feedback in the comments on the YouTube channel, please? Can you also subscribe to my YouTube channel? If you'd like some more videos, you can go onto the website www.examrevision.ie and you can find more videos there. I have the whole junior certificate geography course completed, and you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ExamRevision for all the latest news.